Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. Welcome along to the SIL Review Show, the series in which we sit down and look at the weekend's results and see how they have impacted the top four divisions across the Suffolk and Ipswich League. Thank you very much to everyone who was asking what happened to last week's video. I was just not feeling very well. I had a horrible week, could not shift this flu for the life of me, and then by the time I eventually did recover, it was already the next weekend, so there was no point in reviewing it. So yeah, but thank you everyone who did comment and ask whereabouts it was. It's good to know that people were interested in the show. If you are enjoying those, these videos in this series, make sure you continue to hit the thumbs up, which you are doing at the moment. You guys are absolutely smashing it, and I can't thank you enough for it. And as always, if you are new or if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do and hit the notification bell so that when the videos are released, you'll get an email notification letting you know that they are about. So without further ado, let's get into the senior division and see how the weekend's results have happened. If we start off with the senior division as we normally do, we're going to begin things with the cup competitions though, because 3 of our teams from the senior divisions were involved in the Suffolk Senior Cup, which is the opportunity to play against teams in the divisions above in the Furlough None to see how you can compete against them. We start off with Crane Sports picking up a 3-0 win at home against Leiston Reserves. A superb victory considering all of the talent that Leiston do have available to potentially put in the reserves, but Crane come out on top, 3-0 victors. Copplestonians beating Debenham 5-1, so our boys Cops, they get the victory against the Furlough None, which is a fantastic performance. Yeah, 5-1 away from home, that is really, really impressive. Copplestonians on their day are a fantastic football team, so they've proven that once again. And unfortunately, we couldn't make it 3 out of 3 with Old Newton picking up a 1-0 defeat against Ipswich Wanderers. However, Ipswich Wanderers are having a brilliant season in the Furlough None. They are doing really, really well. It's a strong side, so to take them to, unfortunately, unfortunate defeat, but only by the 1 goal. It's a good effort from Macca and the boys over there, but I think they'll be slightly disappointed that they couldn't make a 3 out of 3. But yeah, nevertheless, that's the cup competitions done. Let's move back to league action where we saw Bilderston picking up a 6-2 victory against second bottom Leiston St Margaret's. To score 6 goals in any game is a superb achievement. Well done, boys. That's a superb win and just cements that 8th place position where you guys are at the moment. Hawley picked up a 3-1 victory away from home, which just keeps them in the chasing pack towards the top of the table. Bournevale are very on and off side, but the form suggests that they are as such. But yeah, Hawley 3-1 victory. That's a very good win away from home. We then had East Burgall 5, Bennell St Mary 0. Bennell, they're on their day. They can produce a good performance, but East Burgall just continuing to go from strength to strength this season. A 5-0 victory. That's a very, very impressive performance. The shock of the weekend, though, goes to Trimley Red Devils, right down the bottom of the table. Prior to this game, had only won 2 matches this season. They travelled to Henley and got a 2-0 victory. So they kept a clean sheet, 2 goals, and they beat second in the table Henley. That is superb from Trimley, and as I said, that is now their 3rd victory of the season. And then the final game to go through is a Westerfield 3-0 defeat against a newly formed Achilles team. It's looking very, very ominous at the bottom of the table for Westerfield. They're still on -1 point. I'd love to know what the performances are like of Westerfield recently to see how they are progressing on the field. But if we look at the table, obviously Crane not involved. However, they've had a superb weekend. They've won a cup game. The second in the table loss. Overall, that's a brilliant weekend for Crane. You can't really ask for much more than that. Hawley just increasing the pressure on Henley in 3rd. As I said, East Burgall right behind them. Then we've got Claydon, who weren't involved this weekend. Copplestonians and Old Newton, who were in the cup competitions. Bilderston in 8th, Bourne, then Capel, Achilles, Bennell, Trimley, and the bottom 2 of Leiston St Margaret's and Westerfield United. Were you involved in any of the games? What happened during your match? Let me know down in the comment section below. So into Division 1, and there were some massive games at the top and the bottom of this division, and it's produced some amazing results. Let's start off, as we always do, going by the order that is on the screen. Barham versus Kesgrave was a huge matchup. It was 9 points for Kesgrave, 8 to Barham, and Barham lost 3-1 at home to Kesgrave. That is a massive victory for Kesgrave. Just gives them a comfortable, well not comfortable, but it gives them a gap between themselves and the bottom two now, which that victory, that could be so massive towards the end of the season, but a great win away from home for those guys. We then had Grunsborough losing 2-0 at home against Sporting 87. Sporting picking up another victory and having a great season all round. They are still in 4th place, but they've got 3 games in hand on 3rd position. Halesworth doing what they do so often this season, picking up a 2-0 home victory against Stowe Falcons, which is no easy feat this season. We then had Southwold beating bottom of the table, Mendlesham 3-0. Again, another good victory for Southwold. And then the top of the table clash this weekend. Ransom Sports coming up 5-1 victors against Wickham Market. You might have predicted a win, but I doubt you would have predicted that big of a win. That is a very, very impressive performance and a victory. They are now on plus 53 goal difference. That is absolutely mad. Does that seal Ransoms and Halesworth in the senior division for next season? That's what I want you guys to let me know. Look at that league table. Can you see anybody catching them now? Let me know, as I said, down in the comment section. And then the final game from the weekend, Coddenham picking up a very valuable 3-1 victory away from home against Stanton. They are now level on points with Stanton. And it just gives them now, what is that, a 9-point, I had to do some very quick math there, 9-point gap between second bottom Barham. That is a huge victory and will give them so much confidence going into the rest of the season. So, top of the table, Ransoms and Halesworth just continuing to do what they do. Only goal difference separating those two teams, but they've only lost 1 game apiece this season. Incredible. Sporting are now in 4th behind Wickham Market, but as I said, they do have their 3 games in hand. Then we've got Southwold, who are on the same amount of games as Sporting, so there's a good chance that they could overtake Wickham if they win their games in hand. Then we've got Stowe Falcons, Grunsborough, and then, as I said, we then got our gap to Stanton and Coddenham, when Hastings, and then backed in Kesgrave, with a 4-point gap between Barham in second bottom, and then we got Mendlesham down in the bottom place. Moving on into Division 2 now, and one result in particular, I am so chuffed for this team, but we're going to get into that in a second. Let's start off, as we always do, alphabetical order. AFC Yorkshire's picking up a 2-0 victory at home against second bottom Thurston. That's a very, very solid win for them and just keeps them within the chasing pack towards the top of the table. Bedricksworth, a 3-3 draw against Ipswich Athletic. That is a very, very good point for Ipswich Athletic against a team in Bedricks who, to this point, had only dropped points in 1 game. So that is a very, very good, not a victory, but a draw away from home, 3-3. That is definitely up there for contender for result of the weekend. Then we had Wolferston picking up a 5-1 victory away from home against Cockfield in a very much a mid-table clash. Although, actually, no, I would say mid-table, but Wolferston are now in that chasing pack going towards second spot. So that's a very good victory, actually. I'll take that back about Wolverstone. So then we had Bramford Road Old Boys picking up a 5-2 victory away from home against Saxmundham. And again, just keeps Bramford in amongst a chasing pack. They've got 2 games in hand on Tattingstone, but they've played a game more than Bedricks. And then, here's the result. Somersham, their first points of the season. They beat Stoneham Aspel 3-1. Round of applause for those guys. Brilliant. Just absolutely superb. That's exactly what you want. Sometimes when you're in those kind of positions, you know, the pressure just eases off you and you can just go into games and just play your natural game, and that looks like what's happened here. All the pressure would be on Stoneham Aspel because they're wanting to try and get enough points so that they are not dragged into a battle. But Somersham picked up a win. Fantastic. And with Thurston losing as well, they're now 2 points behind Thurston. Well done, lads. Tacker Street BOB losing at home to Curtin Athletic in what is a very mid-table clash. And then we got Tattingstone, after a couple of dodgy weeks, picking up a very, very good win against Ufford, who are in 6th place, rather, a 6-3 victory at home. that gets them back on track. They said over on Twitter that it's just good to get the feel-good factor back at the club. Yeah, very, very good victory at home in that game. And league table-wise, Tattingstone is still ahead. However, because of what's happened in recent weeks, Bedwicksworth, Bramford Road boys, we then got AFC Yorkshire and Wolverstone, who have all got games in hand. Could, if they win and certain things happen for them, it could lead to a very, very interesting chase for the top 2 positions in this division. So we've got Bedwicksworth, Bramford Road, AFC Yorkshire. There's a cluster of teams, probably say to Ufford, that could spring a surprise in terms of getting a promotion. Then we've got Curtin, Cockfield and Saxmundham in a midfield battle. And then down at the bottom, Tacker Street, BOB, Stonham Aspel and Ipswich Athletic just outside the bottom 2 places, with Thurston and that first victory for Somersham. And finally, we move into Division 3, where we did have one postponement, but look at some of those scorelines. We're going to go through it, starting off with a 9-3 victory for Bardwell Sports against Walton Wanderers. A mid-table clash that on paper probably wouldn't have had an awful lot going for it. However, 12 goals in the game. That is what I'm talking about. This is the SIL, and we bloomin' well love it. Elmswell with a 9-1 victory at home against Stage. Obviously, Stage kind of near the bottom of the table. However, to pick up a 9-1 victory, that is very, very impressive stuff indeed. Plus 37 goal difference. They are on absolute fire this season. Ipswich Valley Wanderers, this was the game that was postponed against Wortham. Love to know why that game was called off. Might have been to do with a cup game or dodgy pitch, I'm not entirely sure. Ockhold beating Hope Church in a mid-table battle 4-1 at home. That's a good victory for Ockhold. Well done, lads. Witton United Social Club losing 2-3 to Kesgrave Kestrels, who Kesgrave are right near the top of the table and are pushing and pushing and pushing for a top 2 place, and that victory just keeps them in the hunt. Witness and Wasps drawing against Ipswich Exiles, who are kind of a mid-table-ish team, but for Witnessam, that is points dropped, you would have to say. I'd love to know what happened actually during the game, in terms of who was on top, who scored first, what exactly happened, etc. But as I said, for them guys, it is, you would say it is definitely points dropped, considering where Exiles are in the league table. However, not every game obviously went through. We then, let's have a look at the league table. So Melton didn't play this weekend. However, they are still top, still unbeaten. Elmswell right behind them. And then we have Wincham, Wasps, Kesgrave, Ockhold, Walton, Bardwell, Hope Church in that midfield cluster with those 3 teams. Ipswich Exiles, Stage, Witton United, and then Wortham and Ipswich Valley Wanderers at the bottom of the table. So there we have it, my performance of the weekend. I have looked at a lot of the results. I've given shout outs to quite a few teams. However, looking at it on paper, I have to give it to Copplestonians for their 5-1 victory away from home in the Suffolk Senior Cup against higher division Debenham. For me, that is performance of the weekend. But I know a lot of you may disagree, so let me know down in the comment section whether or not you disagree. What was your performance of the weekend? There's some great shouts, to be honest. Crane, you could quite easily give them the heads up. Trimley Red Devils, I know they're going to be absolutely fuming with this decision, but that victory away from home against Henley, that's right up there with a good shout. I would put Ransom's 5-1 victory against Wickham Market in there for a contention. I would say Codnam picking up a 3-1 victory against Stanton's a great result. AFC Kesgrave beating Barham 3-1 away from home's a great shout. We then got Ipswich Athletic picking up a point against Bedricks. That's a great performance. Somersham collecting their first win of the season. There's been so many good results this weekend. What was yours? Let me know down in the comment section. As I said, for me, it goes to Copplestonians. But thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. And as I said, thank you for all of your messages last week. That really, really did mean a lot. I wasn't feeling great. And just to have people going, where's the video? I'm really, really excited for it. That was amazing. So thank you so much. It really, really does mean the world. But yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment on your game of the weekend, where you involved in any. Let me know down in the comment section. And as I said, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell for all future videos. Thank you very much for watching. As always, until next time though, adios.